Hello YouTube, John Mackin here. Don't normally do YouTube videos, so I'll keep this one short as a bit of an introduction. Really, I don't want to make a long video and then have to scrap the whole thing because the sound was bad or I've done something stupid, so I'll keep this one short. I'm doing a YouTube video series here now because there are a lot of events occurring in the global financial system. You can see on my screen here we've got the weekly chart of gold, which has went parabolic in 2024 in particular since Trump won for his second term. There's been a lot of changes, so we'll get into that. The reason I wanted to do this YouTube is primarily to talk about Bitcoin. Bitcoin prices going through the roof as well. It looks like there is a rush out of the dollar into alternative assets. The primary ones seem to be gold and Bitcoin, but what we want to talk about here today is a bit of an introduction. I have been writing about Bitcoin on my Twitter and Substack. The links will be below, and I just thought I would try getting a YouTube video out. It might be quicker to do this rather than write a series of articles on these topics around Bitcoin. So planning a bit of a series of YouTube videos just to discuss some claims made around Bitcoin, the major claims made around Bitcoin, that it's money, that it's digital gold, and that it's a store of value. So these are obviously serious and significant claims that could account for billions, if not trillions of dollars in value, depending on whether these claims are justified or not. Nothing that I'm going to say in these first couple of videos is new, and anything that I will say probably has been said before, but I just don't see the rigorous enough analysis of what is Bitcoin, what is money, etc. So we'll start off with those topics. We'll kick off what is Bitcoin. We obviously have to have a look at what it was designed to be, because you can't forego the design process and say, well, it's something else now. You need to look back and say, well, what was it designed to be and why? And we'll do that by looking at the white paper first and foremost. Let's do this. So you can see right in the heading, electronic cash system. So that's an interesting word straight away, cash. Why would he call it a cash system and not a money system? Because Satoshi, as I think most people know, over and above the white paper, was on the Bitcoin Talk forums and sharing his ideas with folks on forums, and he's made it clear in subsequent posts that he intended to design a money system. But why has he said cash system here then? Let's have a quick look at the difference. So, general Google search, and please chip in and correct me if you have a different opinion on any of this, but money is a much wider term than cash. As you can see here, cash is a specific type of money referring to physical currency like coins and banknotes. Therefore, cash is a subset of money. So the white paper doesn't say that he's designing a money system. It says he's designing a cash system. And cash, of course, would not really be regarded as a store of value. It's for immediate payments. Cash, coins or notes you would carry in your pocket and pay for things, and that's it, done and dusted. It's not, a store of value. It's interesting. I think I would call this out. I've never heard anyone else saying, talking about the difference between what this system is designed as, cash, and what people are now claiming it as, money. And as a subset of that, of it being money, then it has a store of value function. Well, we'll return to that in a later video when we talk in depth about what money is. Let's just scroll through this white paper now, and we'll pick out some more interesting language. So we can see here in more than one place through the white paper, Satoshi talks about this double spending problem. I don't really want to go into the technical detail of what it is, but he says it quite clearly here that this white paper is proposing the solution to this double spend problem. And of course, that's why a trusted party would normally be utilised to, debit your account. If you have $10 in your account and you send somebody $10 and your account has $0 in it, you can't send that $10 again and again. Whereas, using a peer-to-peer network, how do you verify that? And that's what Satoshi means by this double spend problem. I think most folks watching this video will be aware of that. But it's interesting that, this is a technical paper that's focused on this double spend problem. Now let's scroll down. Again, he calls it here an electronic payment system. So up above, electronic cash system. Now he talks about an electronic payment system here. And a payment system is different than a money system, of course, because a payment is just a message. It's not money itself. But anyway, just thought I would highlight the difference in language used throughout this paper, because it's important. It's important to look at these things carefully. As I say, given the significant claims that are being made about Bitcoin. Again, we propose a solution to the double spend problem using a peer-to-peer distributed timestamp server. This is the bulk of the paper. It's a technical solution. And we'll cover this at the end. We'll just walk through the paper now, and we'll come back and talk about the significance of this problem statement. In IT terms, this would be regarded as a problem statement, and then the rest of the paper is a technical solution to that. So in this part, and this is critical importance as well. What is a coin? Well, Satoshi uses the word coin in a way that nobody else in the world would use it. I think we can be honest about that and truthful and say this is nonsense. Nobody in the world would say a coin is a chain of digital signatures. That would be like me defining a cheese sandwich as a brick that you can build a house with, a brick of cement. I'll just define that as a cheese sandwich for my software program. So why this is important to call out and understand is because the use of terminology where there's maybe more accurate terminology that could be used all plays a part in arriving at incorrect conclusions and confusing conclusions. So he's taken it upon himself to say this is a coin. A chain of digital signatures is now a coin in Satoshi world. Which is bizarre, to say the least. If one was being honest about this, he would just call it dig-sig or chain sig or something more appropriate to what it actually is. But he defines it as a coin. And we'll come back and we'll look at some of the consequences of that later. And this is all, a lot of technical stuff that we'll scroll past. Essentially, he's defining these digital signatures make a distributed ledger. I think we can all agree that the Bitcoin system is a ledger system. That's what these transactions represent. They are entries and movement on a ledger. Timestamp server, fine, very technical. We don't need to get into that. Proof of work. Don't need to get into that for our purposes. Again, you can see a fairly technical document, one that you would expect from a technical person, right? Satoshi, a computer programmer and cryptographer. Now, the incentive is an interesting section. I've highlighted a few things in here as well, referring to, the incentive for mining blocks and for securing the network. The steady addition of a constant amount of new coins is analogous to gold miners expending resources. Well, it is in the most broadest term, in that new supplies being added. But I don't know where he's got this analogous to gold miners expending resources. That is a bizarre comparison. And this is one comparison that we'll dig into in a great amount of detail in a later video. Gold mining is never ever on a constant amount of supply. So it's an incorrect comparison to say it's analogous to gold miners expending resources to add gold to circulation. It's nothing like it. Goes on to say here, once a predetermined number of coins have entered circulation, the incentive can transition entirely to fees and be completely inflation free. So anyone that knows Bitcoin knows it's a 21 million coin hard cap, a fixed limit. And here we can get one insight into Satoshi's thinking around this, completely inflation free. So bizarrely, and these two sentences here in incentive, and this actually a couple of words here about being inflation free. These are the only monetary policy considerations that are contained in this paper, which is very, very strange whenever the purpose of the system is to provide an alternative money system. There should be significant writing around the design of a money system. It should be backed up by monetary theory, or at least some writing of the thoughts of the inventor around why this is a good money system, and it's completely missing, which strikes me as being, well, let's just say it's interesting. Trust me, bro, basically, that this computer programmer has got expert level monetary theory, that he can design a money system. I don't see any evidence of that whatsoever, either in this paper or in the various Satoshi forum posts. In fact, we'll get into this in great depth in the next video, but he's got it completely wrong. And I've seen this thing before in IT projects where the vision is a little bit woolly. You know, the language that's being used here, he jumps from cash to a payment system. The vision is woolly, and the understanding of the author of the problem that needs to be solved, i.e. a money system, and we can see this from Satoshi's writing on the forums, that, you know, he distrust of central banks, and the Genesis message that he's placed on the blockchain around the bailouts for the banks, that he's trying to design a fully digital money system. And of course, you know, it's a good technical design of the system. So, you know, the blockchain itself is, I mean, kudos, right? It's an excellent technical design. But he's misunderstood the problem. Money system is not just solving a problem of inflation. It has to be a stable barometer for the valuation of goods and services. And money of a fixed limit cannot provide that stability. But we'll get into that in the next video. I just wanted to use this one to look at the white paper and try to come to a conclusion of what Bitcoin's intention was and what it is objectively. So here again, a system for electronic transactions. So first it's cash, then it's payments, then it's electronic transactions. But we know from further posts that the intent was to design a money system. So, as a conclusion to this video, just want to talk about Bitcoin as a commodity, and these are the coins. So this going back to this use of terminology where he's has a bizarre definition for a coin, and and the use of the word wallet for addresses on the ledger. So these terminologies are meant to, I guess, play a psychological, subconscious type role in marketing of this project. That to have folks believe that they're actually dealing with money because of the terminology used, Bitcoin, coin, and wallet, and when really it's just it's a distributed ledger. So why not call it dist ledger and ledge entry? These would be more honest names for what's actually happening. Of course, it would be much more difficult to market then, and there would be no chance of this convincing what you see on screen right now. The CFTC says that Bitcoin is a commodity, which is bizarre because it's as we know, it's an entry on a ledger. So how is an entry on a ledger a commodity? That's an interesting one. So CFTC, like a lot of arguments that you see and hear in the Bitcoin community, use circular logic a lot. So, it is a medium of exchange here, and commodities are medium of exchanges. Therefore, Bitcoin is a commodity. So this type of logic is just nonsense, really. Anything can be a medium of exchange. Anything at all. And we'll look at this on a later video, actually, because this is where where a common mistake is made in the Bitcoin community. We'll look at some quote from the Safedin Moose Bitcoin standard around this. But anything can be a medium of exchange. That doesn't mean it's a commodity. But anyway, CFTC has went down this route of classifying Bitcoin as a commodity, and the reason that they've done this is to try and get some regulatory control after the Mt. Gox debacle, the Mt. Gox hack, etc., when there were, it was a completely unregulated exchange. So this is the closest place where they could put it for some regulation, I guess. This is what the CFTC has to say about it. Because it's a virtual currency, and it represents value, and then they list the functions of money here, which is a little bit odd. So all virtual currencies are commodities according to the CFTC, and I guess that includes World of Warcraft gold. It's a virtual currency. So if somebody steals your coins in a game, you can report them to the CFTC, given their definition of virtual currencies falling under their remit, which is a very silly road to go down. Just want to search for a few terms in this white paper just to reinforce what we were discussing around the purpose of the system. You can see there, cash means immediate payment, not particularly for holding long term. Nobody expects cash to hold its value long term. So store of value is not mentioned anywhere at all in this white paper. I think if you go to my Twitter, you will see I've used it as my profile picture for quite some time. Store of value, no results, and the big Bitcoin white paper. What have we got else? We want to search for decentralization. Nope, nothing for decentralization either. I mean, it is distributed computing, and that is how this type of system would commonly be known. It's a distributed computing system. Somehow the word decentralized has become common parlance, which is interesting because decentralized means no central point of control. But of course, this is a software system. Somebody controls that software, and there's a lot made in the Bitcoin community of many developers, and there's a whole process that they need to go through to implement changes. Just wanted to have a quick look at that because there was an exploit, a hack, if you like, on Bitcoin in August 2010. And this hack, somebody exploited a bug and was able to create 184 billion Bitcoin, which is a lot, right? Whenever the system's only meant to issue 21 million over, a 100-year period or whatever the running period is of Bitcoin to get up to that hard cap limit. So 21 million Bitcoin, somebody hacked it, somebody was able to exploit some code and get it to generate a lot of additional Bitcoins. One of the devs spotted it, started discussing it on the forum, and here's the key part here. It took just 5 hours before a soft fork was rolled out, which reset the blockchain. So they rolled it back, right? And they fixed the bug all within 5 hours. Now, that doesn't sound like decentralization to me. That is evidence of centralized decision making to carry out such a very complicated technical rollback and fix the bug within a couple of hours. So I think that this is obviously clear evidence that claims of decentralization need to be taken with a pinch of salt. If some powerful people or powerful entities were to put pressure on Bitcoin developers or the Bitcoin community to approve changes, it could be done. I think Roger Ver talks about this extensively in his book Hijacking Bitcoin, where he claims that this has been done to neuter Bitcoin as a payment system. But maybe that's a conversation for another day. I just wanted to highlight this evidence. It's really, really critical because everyone thinks that Bitcoin is decentralized. The code is certainly not. Okay, guys. This video is actually longer than I thought it was going to be. So we'll wrap it up here. Conclusion: Bitcoin was designed to be a money system, fully digital money system. The coins are not actually coins. Clearly, they are not commodities. Clearly. Ledger entry, whether I write it in a notepad or keep it in an Excel sheet or some kind of a distributed timestamp server, right? That was how Satoshi described it, which is fairly accurate description, but it's a ledger system. And while an entry on a ledger can represent an asset, it certainly is not a commodity. I think we'll leave it at that, guys, for this one. Next video will be discussing what money is and whether Bitcoin can meet that definition.